The lights were so bright they made everyone look guilty, even the people who were smiling. A polished table, a high-backed chair, a studio audience sitting close enough to see your hands shake if they wanted to. And right there, under the hottest light, a white man in a crisp suit leaned back and laughed. Not a chuckle. A laugh that told the room, "This is funny, and you should laugh too." He tapped the side of the small wooden case in front of him like it was a toy. "Replica," he said. "Sentimental, but worthless." Then his eyes slid up, slow, like he was searching for something else to judge, and landed on her hair. Her sister locks were long, tidy, glossy, swept over one shoulder like a crown she did not ask permission to wear. He smirked. "That's a lot of hair for someone chasing a payout." The audience made a noise, half gasp, half giggle. The host smiled like this was good television, a camera lens tilted, hunting for her reaction. She did not flinch. She did not raise her voice. She looked at him, calm as a locked door, and said softly, clearly, "Thank you." The expert blinked, confused. She kept her gaze steady. "I needed that on record." And somewhere behind the cameras, someone swallowed hard. Because that was not the sentence of a woman who came to beg for approval. That was the sentence of someone who came to document. 12 hours earlier, her kitchen smelled like mint tea and old paper. The wooden case sat on the table between two mugs as if it belonged there, as if it had been waiting for her hand specifically. Her name was Kesia Ward. She was not famous. She was not rich. She was not the sort of person people expected to step onto a bright stage and make a room of strangers go quiet. Kesia worked with records, the boring kind. The kind people ignored until their lives depended on them. Filing, archiving, chains of custody, dates, signatures, proof. She lived for the small truth that did not change, even when a powerful person insisted it should. Her granddad used to say, "When you cannot change their minds, change the paper." He had been gone 3 months. The grief was not loud anymore. It was quiet now. It sat in corners. It waited in drawers. It turned ordinary objects into sudden storms. Kesia ran her finger along the brass edge of the case. The wood was dark and smooth, with a small inlay pattern that caught the light when she tilted it. Her granddad called it the Jubilee case. He never explained why, not fully. He just kept it wrapped in cloth, tucked behind tax papers and a stack of old photographs, like the case itself needed privacy. When she found it after the funeral, her aunt had said, "He wanted you to have that." And when Kesia asked why, her aunt shook her head. "Because you don't get flustered," she said. "You don't get loud. You don't get sloppy. You don't forget what you saw." That night, Kesia found the note, a single page folded into a square tucked beneath the cloth. "Kesia, if you ever take the Jubilee case into a room where they laugh, let them. Do not fight the laugh. Do not chase dignity from people who make a hobby out of taking it. Just make sure they do it on camera. Keep your voice steady. Keep your hands clean. Keep your copies. And when they finally realize what they are holding, do not gloat. Return what can be returned. Protect who can be protected." Love, Granddad Kesia read it 3 times. Then she opened the folder beside her mug. Inside were photocopies, printouts, and old photographs in sleeves. She had not created the folder. Her granddad had. His handwriting was all over it, dates, locations, names, and at the back, a slim envelope with her name on it, written in the same tidy hand. She slid her finger under the flap and opened it. Inside was a smaller sheet of paper, a list of instructions, short and plain. Submit the Jubilee case to the program. Do not tell them what you know. Bring the folder. Ask for a basic authenticity test on camera. If he mentions the latch type, you are in the right place. If he refuses an apology, you are in the perfect place. Call the number on the second page as soon as the show begins. Kesia turned the sheet over. A number, and underneath it, 3 words, "Do not hesitate." Kesia stared at the number until the kettle clicked off again, like it wanted her to stop thinking and start moving. Her phone buzzed. A text from her cousin, Ren. You still doing this thing tomorrow? The TV people? Kesia typed back. Yes. Pick me up at 9, Ren replied instantly. I'm wearing my good jacket. If someone tries you, I'm flipping a table. Kesia smiled despite herself. Do not flip anything. Just be there. Ren sent a laughing emoji then. You got it. Calm queen. Receipts queen. Kesia looked at the Jubilee case again. Receipts. That was the word. Her granddad did not call it that, but that was what it was. Proof. And if she had learned anything in her life, it was that some people did not fear anger. They feared evidence. The morning of the appraisal, the sky was pale and sharp, like winter trying to be polite. The venue was a bright convention center with banners and camera rigs and staff and headsets moving like they owned the air. Kesia stepped out of Ren's car with the case tucked under her arm and the folder in her bag. Ren looked her up and down. You look like you about to sue somebody, Ren said, proud. Kesia wore a simple cream coat, dark trousers, and boots that made no noise on tile. Her sister locks were tied back cleanly, neat edges, no fuss. I'm about to get laughed at on television, Kesia said. Ren's smile slipped. Don't say it like that. Kesia's eyes stayed forward. It's fine. I'm prepared. They approached the check-in desk. A young staffer with glossy hair and an over-friendly smile glanced at Kesia's case. Her eyes flicked up to Kesia's face, then down to her hair. The smile tightened a fraction. Hi, the staffer said, bright. You're here for the taping? Kesia nodded. The staffer scanned her badge. Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice like she was doing Kesia a kindness. Just so you know, we like a cleaner look on stage, she said, eyes landing on Kesia's hair again. The lights can be a lot. Ren opened her mouth. Kesia lifted a finger. Calm. Thank you, Kesia said. My hair will manage. The staffer blinked, then laughed lightly like it was a joke. Of course. It's just, television. Kesia watched her eyes. She saw the assumption sitting behind them, plain as day. Not a guest, not a serious collector, not someone who belonged under the lights. Just content. The staffer handed her a release form. Sign here and here, she said, and initial at the bottom. Kesia took the pen, read the form, and paused. Ren leaned in. You reading all that? Ren whispered. Kesia whispered back. Always. She initialed most of it, then drew a single line through a clause, neat and small. Ren's eyebrows shot up. The staffer frowned. You can't edit that. Kesia's smile was polite. I can, she said, and if it's a problem, I can leave. The staffer stared at her, startled by the calm. Then she waved a hand as if she could not be bothered. Fine, she said, snatching the paper. Follow the arrows. They walked down a corridor that smelled like hairspray and coffee. A monitor showed the stage from above, bright and clean, like a courtroom dressed up as entertainment. The host's voice floated out of speakers somewhere, rehearsing charm. Kesia felt her heart thud once, heavy. Then it settled. Ren leaned close. You good? Kesia nodded. I'm good, Ren bumped her shoulder. Remember, calm queen, receipts queen. Kesia breathed out. She could hear her granddad in her head. Do not fight the laugh. Make sure they do it on camera. They waited in a holding area with other guests. An older white couple clutched a painting and talked loudly about how their cousin was practically nobility. A young man paced with a sports card binder like his life depended on it. A woman with a jewelry box kept adjusting her necklace, eyes darting. No one spoke to Kesia. They looked. They did not speak. A staff member called her name. Kesia Ward. Kesia stood. Ren stood too. The staff member glanced at Ren. Only the guest. Ren smiled wide. I'm her family. The staff member's eyes slid to Kesia. Kesia's voice stayed soft. She's with me. A pause, then a small sigh. Fine. But she stays behind the line. Ren mouthed, unbelievable, and followed anyway. They walked toward the stage entrance. Kesia could feel the temperature change, the heat of the lights, the hush of an audience waiting to be entertained. A producer in a headset stopped them, eyes scanning Kesia quickly. What have you got? The producer asked. Kesia lifted the case slightly. My grandfather's, she said. A wooden presentation case. The producer's face tightened with disappointment. That's it? Kesia nodded. The producer forced a smile. Okay, we'll see. Just answer the questions. Keep it short. We like big reactions. Kesia nodded again. We'll see, she said quietly to herself. Then, the stage assistant opened the curtain. The host's voice boomed. Next up, we have Kesia, who's brought in a family piece passed down through generations. Let's see what we've got. Applause. Bright. Too bright. Kesia stepped forward with the case in both hands. She sat opposite the expert, a man named Graham Pike, the show's star, the one people trusted because he sounded certain. Graham's suit was perfect. His smile was sharp. His eyes were colder than his tone. He looked at the case like it was already wasting his time. Well, he said, leaning forward, tell us what you think it is. Kesia placed the case down gently. My grandfather called it the Jubilee case, she said. He kept it wrapped up. He said it mattered. Graham chuckled. People say that about a lot of things, he said, turning to the audience. Sentimental value is very real. Market value is a different story. A few laughs. Kesia kept her face neutral. The host leaned in. And why bring it here today? Kesia looked into the middle distance, as if remembering. Because my grandfather left me a note, she said. He said if someone laughed, let them. Just make sure they do it on camera. The audience made a little sound, interested now. Graham's eyes narrowed. He opened the case without asking. Inside was a smaller object nestled in velvet. A dark metal medallion, heavy-looking, with a simple design. Not flashy. Not, obviously, expensive. Graham held it up, turning it under the lights. Kesia watched his fingers, watched how careful he was for someone pretending it was junk. He turned it once, twice. His eyes flicked to the edge. Just for a moment, his expression changed. A flash. Recognition. Then he smoothed it out, replaced it with a grin, and looked at the audience. Okay, he said, drawing out the word. I see what this is. Kesia stayed still. Graham tapped the medallion with a fingernail. You've got a modern reproduction, he said. These were popular a few years back. People bought them online. They're made to look older. The patina is artificial. He put it down like it disgusted him. Replica, he said again. Sentimental, but worthless. The host made a sympathetic face. Oh no, the host said. Kesia, how does that feel? Kesia's voice remained even. It feels like an opinion, she said. The audience laughed. Graham leaned back, enjoying himself. Not an opinion, he said. A fact. Then his eyes went to her hair, and he gave the line that made the room tilt. That's a lot of hair for someone chasing a payout. A half-laugh moved through the crowd like a wave. The host did not stop it. Wren's hands clenched behind the line. Kesia looked at Graham, calm. Thank you, she said. I needed that on record. Graham blinked. The host's smile froze for a second. Somewhere off stage, a crew member shifted. Kesia turned her head slightly, just enough to catch Wren's eye, and gave a tiny nod. Wren nodded back, jaw tight. Kesia returned her gaze to the table. The host tried to recover. Well, the host said, laughing lightly, let's not get too serious. This is all in good fun. Graham, are you 100% sure? Graham smiled. Absolutely, he said. You can tell by the latch, actually. Kesia's heart did not race. It settled. Because latch. Her granddad's note had said, if he mentions the latch type, you are in the right place. Kesia spoke gently, as if asking a normal question. What about the latch? She said. Graham waved a hand. It's a Jubilee twist latch, he said. Common on reproductions. Real ones had a different tension, different cut. The host nodded like this was impressive. Wren's eyes widened. Kesia kept her face blank. But inside, something clicked into place like a lock turning. Kesia lifted her chin slightly. Interesting, she said, because my grandfather wrote that word down before I ever submitted this. Graham's smile tightened. The host laughed. Your grandfather predicted he'd say latch? Kesia looked at the host. He predicted someone would be confident, she said. Confidence is easy. Proof is harder. The audience shifted, intrigued. The host leaned in. So, what do you say to that, Graham? Graham's eyes hardened. I say it's still fake, he said, a little sharper now. Look, we see this all the time. People want their family stories to be true, but the market doesn't care about stories. Kesia nodded slowly. True, she said. The market cares about paperwork. Then she reached into her bag. Not dramatically, not angrily, just calmly, like she was taking out a lunchbox. She placed her folder on the table. The host's eyes widened, delighted. Oh, the host said. She came prepared. A few laughs. Graham's face changed, just slightly. A flicker of irritation, because preparation ruined his favorite game. Kesia opened the folder to the first sleeve. Before I show anything, she said, voice steady, I'd like to ask a simple question. The host nodded. Go on. Kesia looked straight at Graham. Do you always decide fake before you ask to see provenance? Graham laughed. Provenance can be forged, he said. Kesia nodded. It can, she said. So can confidence, the audience murmured. Graham leaned forward, voice turning patronizing. Are you accusing me of something? Kesia's smile was small. I'm accusing you of being loud, she said. We can keep this simple. One test. Graham sighed dramatically. Fine, he said. What test? Kesia glanced at the host. I'd like a basic authenticity check, she said. On camera. Oh, I love this, the host said. Can we open it? A staffer reached forward. Graham snapped, Careful! Kesia's eyes did not leave Graham's. You're worried, she said soft. I'm professional, Graham shot back. Kesia smiled faintly. Me too, she said. The staffer examined the case and found a seam that did not quite match the others, a hidden panel, a small latch inside the latch. The staffer eased it open. The room went quiet. Inside was a folded slip of paper, brittle with age, and a tiny tag tied with thin string. The host leaned in like they were peering into history. Oh my goodness, the host whispered. Graham's jaw tightened. Kesia reached in and lifted the tag carefully. It was old, the kind of tag museums use when they catalog something. Kesia held it up to the macro camera. The tag had a code. Not something you could guess, not something you could order online. A small number, a set of initials, a date. The host looked from the tag to Kesia. Kesia, the host said softly. Did you know this was in there? Kesia's voice was gentle. I suspected, she said. My grandfather left it for a reason. Graham tried to recover, voice louder. People can plant things, he said. This proves nothing. Kesia nodded. It proves one thing, she said. You did not ask before you laughed, the audience murmured. Kesia unfolded the brittle slip. Inside was handwriting, old cursive, a description of the medallion, a list of measurements, and a name at the bottom. Kesia spoke it aloud. Hargrove and Son, she said, silversmiths. Graham's eyes flicked, just a flicker, but Kesia saw it, recognition again. The host looked at Graham. Is that a known maker? Graham forced a laugh. Lots of people use that name, he said. Kesia's voice stayed soft. Then we check the mark, she said. Graham sighed, irritated. Fine, he said, check it. A technician brought a small UV light tool. Kesia held the medallion steady, fingers careful, no shaking. The UV light passed over the surface. At first, nothing. Then, near the edge, a faint symbol bloomed into view like ink waking up. A crescent, a star, and beneath it, tiny stamped letters. Hargrove. The audience gasped. The host's mouth fell open. Graham stared at the mark too long, too still, like someone watching their plan fall apart. The host laughed nervously. Okay, the host said. Okay, that looks real. Graham snapped out of it, forced a grin. Could be a copied stamp, he said quickly. Kesia nodded. Possible, she said. So here's something else. She reached into her folder and pulled out a printout, a page from an auction catalog. Not the show's, a different one, older. The printout showed a medallion photographed at an angle. Same crescent and star. Same edge reference. Kesia pointed at a note on the printout. "This is a catalog note," she said, "written by an independent consultant." She looked at Graham. "Your name is on it," she said softly. "From 3 years ago." A ripple went through the room. The host blinked rapidly. "Graham?" the host said. Graham's smile turned brittle. "This proves nothing," he said, voice tight. "My name gets used." Kesia's tone stayed calm. "It's not just your name," she said. "It's your phrasing." She read the line aloud, slowly, as if tasting it. "The crescent star stamp indicates Hargrove's Jubilee series, often misrepresented in private collections." Kesia lifted her eyes to Graham. "You used the word Jubilee," she said, "without me saying it first." The audience went very quiet. Wren whispered behind the line, "Oh, my days." Graham's face reddened. The host's voice softened, careful now. "Graham," the host said, "did you appraise this item before?" Graham laughed sharp. "Absolutely not," he said. "This is ridiculous." Kesia nodded, like she accepted his denial. Then she did something that made the room lean forward. She turned slightly and looked into the camera. "All right," she said, voice gentle. "Quick question for everyone watching at home." A pause. "If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever been laughed at while you were telling the truth, comment one word: receipts." The audience murmured, some smiling. Kesia returned her gaze to Graham. "Now," she said, "we were asked to keep this fun." The host gave a weak laugh. "Yes," the host said. "Yes, let's keep it respectful." Graham leaned back, defensive. "I'm not apologizing for doing my job," he said. "If she took it personally, that's not my issue." Kesia waited. The room waited too. Graham, irritated, could not stop himself. He glanced at her hair again. "And for the record," he added, "people come in here with big stories and big hair, hoping the camera turns pity into cash." A sharp inhale went through the audience. The host's smile collapsed. Wren moved forward a step, trembling with anger. Kesia held up her hand, calm, not even turning. She looked at Graham, and she said softly, "Thank you." Graham frowned. Kesia's voice stayed steady. "That's what I needed," she said, "a clear refusal to correct yourself, on camera." The host stammered, "Kesia, I think we're going off track." Kesia nodded. "I understand," she said. "I'll keep it simple." She reached into her bag and removed a single sheet of paper, not a thick folder this time. 1 page. She placed it on the table between them. The camera caught it from above, but it was too far to read, just a professional-looking document with lines and names. The host leaned in. "What is that?" Kesia's voice was calm. "It's a notice," she said. "Prepared in advance." Graham scoffed. "You came here to threaten us?" Kesia shook her head. "No," she said. "I came here to document you." Behind the cameras, someone whispered. A sound technician, half off mic, spoke without thinking. "We've got clean audio," he said. The host froze. Graham's eyes widened. Kesia did not smile. She simply looked at the host. "You can air a correction," she said, "right now, or we do it properly." The host swallowed. "Kesia," the host said, voice small now. "This is a television program." Kesia nodded. "And this is a record," she said. Graham's voice rose. "This is extortion," he snapped. Kesia's voice stayed soft. "No," she said. "It's consequences." A beat, a long one. Then Kesia lifted the medallion again. She held it up to the camera. "This isn't just valuable," she said. "It's stolen." The audience erupted in noise. The host's eyes widened. "What?" Kesia opened the folder to a page with an old newspaper clipping, edges yellowed. "A church robbery," she said, 1959, a fire, confusion, an inventory taken from the safe. One item described as a Jubilee medallion. Same maker, same stamp, same registry reference. Graham laughed, frantic. "That's insane." Kesia's gaze stayed steady. "My grandfather didn't think so," she said. She flipped to another page, a typed statement, a name, a signature. "My grandfather was working that night," she said. Not at the church, at the hotel where a certain family held a private fundraiser. She paused, letting the weight settle. He was a porter, she said. He was invisible to them, so they spoke freely. The audience was silent now. Kesia continued. He heard them argue about that medallion, she said, about how it would disappear into a collection and be clean in a few years. The host whispered, "Oh my God." Kesia's voice remained level. My grandfather started keeping copies, she said. Names, dates, movements, auction listings, storage receipts, donation letters. Ren stared at Kesia like she was hearing her for the first time. Kesia turned another page, a list of items, a ledger. This is not a family story, Kesia said. It's a chain. Graham shook his head. No, he said. No, you can't say that on air. Kesia looked at him, calm. I can, she said, because it's true. The host's voice trembled. Kesia, the host said, are you accusing Graham of stealing? Kesia shook her head. No, she said. I'm accusing him of laundering reputation, Graham snapped. That's defamatory. Kesia nodded. Good, she said softly. Now you understand the word. A movement in the audience. A man standing trying to slip out quietly. Well-dressed, older, hands in his coat pockets. Kesia's eyes followed him. The cameras, hungry, followed too. Kesia spoke without raising her voice. Mr. Addison Crane, she said. The man froze. The host looked confused. Who? Kesia kept her gaze on the man. You're not leaving yet, she said. Not after you spent 3 years buying donations from families who were publicly shamed into selling cheap. A shocked murmur ran through the crowd. The man tried to smile. I don't know what you're talking about. Kesia nodded. You will, she said. She turned to the host. This is the part where you pretend you didn't know, she said gently. And I believe you. That's why I edited the release form. You don't own my words. The host blinked, stunned. Graham's face went pale. Kesia faced forward again. Some people use charity auctions to make stolen items look clean, she said. If the public believes it's fake first, no one asks why it changed hands. She lifted the tiny tag from the hidden compartment. This tag, she said, matches a private catalog code used by a foundation that calls itself charitable, a foundation that sells heritage to the highest bidder. The host whispered, This is massive. Kesia nodded. It is, she said. And it's bigger than this show. She drew a breath, steady. My grandfather didn't have money, she said. He didn't have power. But he had eyes, and he had patience. She looked at Graham. And he knew men like you count on one thing, she said softly. That we will get emotional and messy. That we will shout. That we will storm out. That we will leave the proof behind. Graham's voice cracked. This is a setup, he said. Kesia nodded. Yes, she said. A setup for the truth. The host's hands shook slightly. Kesia, the host said. What do you want? Kesia's voice softened. Return, she said. Not revenge. She looked into the camera again. People watching at home, she said. If you have a family item that disappeared through a donation or a sale you never understood, if you have paperwork, a photo, a note, anything, do not throw it away. Keep your copies. She paused. Because there are more families than you think, she said, and there are more stolen stories than you've been told. Behind the scenes, staff moved fast. A producer stepped onto the stage, trying to smile. Okay, the producer said, forced cheer. We're going to take a quick break. Kesia kept her gaze steady. No, she said softly. We're not. The producer froze. Kesia looked at the host. I'm giving you one chance, she said. Correct the record. On camera. The host swallowed hard. The room was so quiet the lights seemed louder. The host looked at Graham. Graham, the host said, voice shaking, do you still believe it's fake? Graham's mouth opened, closed, opened again. He looked at the medallion, the maker's mark, the tag, the folder, the camera. He realized there was no safe lie left. His voice came out smaller than before. No, he said. It appears authentic. The host turned to Kesia. And your hair comment? the host asked, voice tight. Graham swallowed. I shouldn't have said that, he muttered. Kesia did not smile. Say it clearly, she said, soft. Graham's jaw clenched. I apologize, he said, for the comment about your hair. Kesia nodded. Thank you, she said. That's the bare minimum. The producer's face tightened. The host turned back to the audience. And we are taking this seriously, the host said, trying to sound in control. We will be looking into the concerns raised. Kesia's voice stayed calm. You will, she said, because the people on the phone are already listening. The host blinked. What? Kesia did not answer directly. She simply watched as two uniformed officers appeared at the side entrance, guided by staff who looked terrified. The audience gasped again. The man Kesia had called Mr. Crane backed up, hands raised. This is outrageous, he said. Kesia's voice was quiet. No, she said, it's overdue. The officers spoke to the man, calm but firm. He protested. The cameras drank it in. Graham sat frozen, staring at the table like it had betrayed him. Wren's eyes shone, not with glee, but with something like relief. Like the world had briefly made sense. The host tried again to regain control. Kesia, the host said, voice careful. How did you know he would be here? Kesia's gaze softened. My grandfather kept records, she said, and people who buy stolen heritage can't resist a bargain. She looked at the camera, voice gentle. That's the lesson, she said. They'll risk everything to stay comfortable. She glanced down at the Jubilee case. And we don't have to shout to stop them, she said. We just have to stay steady long enough to show the chain. The taping ended in chaos, not loud chaos, controlled chaos, phones out, staff whispering, legal people appearing like shadows. Kesia walked off stage with the Jubilee case held tight. Maren, the young producer, caught up with her, eyes wet. I'm sorry, Maren whispered. I'm sorry, I didn't know how to stop it. Kesia looked at her, calm. You did stop it, she said softly. You warned me. That matters. Maren swallowed. They're going to come for me, she said. Kesia nodded. Then we protect you, she said. That's what my granddad wrote. Wren hugged Kesia hard, careful not to crush the case. You did that, Wren whispered. You really did that. Kesia exhaled, shaky for the first time, but still quiet. My grandfather did, she said. He just needed someone steady enough to carry it. Outside, the winter air slapped her cheeks awake. The parking lot lights were bright, the sky was pale, and the world looked the same, which was always the strangest part after something huge. Kesia's phone buzzed, a message from the unknown number she'd called earlier. Good work. Come to the office. We move fast now. Kesia stared at it, then pocketed the phone. Wren walked beside her. You all right? Wren asked. Kesia nodded. I'm all right, she said. I'm just clear. Wren frowned. About what? Kesia held the Jubilee case a little tighter. That my grandfather wasn't hoarding a treasure, she said. He was holding a map. Wren's eyes softened. They drove home in silence. Later that night, Kesia sat at her kitchen table again, the same mint tea cooling beside her. The folder lay open. Her granddad's handwriting stared back at her. Keep your copies. Kesia looked into the camera of her own phone and recorded a short video, calm, no anger. She did not name the show. She did not scream. She did not beg for sympathy. She simply said, if you have a family item that disappeared, if you have paperwork, keep it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be rushed into selling. People profit from your doubt. Evidence breaks the cycle. Then she paused. And if you've ever been laughed at in public for telling the truth, she added, comment one word, receipts. I want to see how many of us there are. She posted it, and within minutes the comments began. Receipts, receipts, receipts. People telling stories in fragments, a ring, a Bible, a photograph, a deed, a medal, a quilt, a document they never thought mattered. Kesia watched the words stack up like bricks, not for revenge, for foundation. In the days that followed, the clip from the stage leaked anyway. People shared the moment Graham mocked her hair. They shared the moment she said, thank you. I needed that on record. They shared the moment the hidden compartment opened. They shared the moment the man in the crowd tried to leave. And for once, the internet did what it rarely did. It noticed the calm. It noticed the restraint. It noticed the evidence. And the conversation shifted from rage to accountability. Kesia sat in a quiet office a week later, across from a lawyer with tired eyes and a careful voice. The lawyer slid a file across the desk. "This isn't just a case about a show," the lawyer said. "This is restitution. This is fraud. This is conspiracy." Kesia nodded. "I know," she said. The lawyer watched her for a moment. "Most people would be furious," the lawyer said. Kesia's gaze lowered to her granddad's note in her folder. "I am," she said softly. "But fury isn't my job." She looked up. "My job is to be accurate," she said. "My job is to be steady." The lawyer nodded once, like they respected that. Outside, the world still looked the same. But Kesia felt something different in her chest. Not triumph, not vengeance, relief. Because the thing that had been stolen was not just metal. It was history. It was dignity. It was the right to own your own story. And she was not going to let them sell it as a joke ever again. So here's what I want you to take from this, right now, before the next story starts in your feed. If someone humiliates you in public, they are hoping you will fall apart where everyone can see it. They are hoping your emotion will become their escape route. They are hoping you will leave the proof behind because you are desperate to leave the pain behind. So do this instead. Breathe. Stay calm. Keep your copies. Make the record. And if you can't change their hearts, change the paperwork. Because dignity plus receipts is undefeated. If this story hit you, if it reminded you of a moment you wish you could replay with more calm and more proof, tell me in the comments, what would you have documented? And what's one thing you're going to start keeping from today? Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs the reminder that you don't have to shout to win. You just have to be prepared